Everybody rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call meeting to order. Roll call.
Mayor Westergaard.
Yes.
Frank.
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Stanky.
Yes.
Wolfman. Beckman.
Yes.
Okay, no public forum, no public. Consent agenda. We want to add,
Yeah, if we'd be amending the tentative agenda to include that fence permit and one additional building permit.
motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Wolfman.
Yep.
Stanky.
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Frank.
Yes.
Beckman.
Yes.
Okay, we have a building permit for the.
If we can be having be the two building permits, so it would include minors and July.
Okay. Well, the two building permits are a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Moeller.
Yes.
Stanky.
Yes.
Wolfman. Beckman.
Yep.
Frank.
Yes.
Okay, city administrator report.
If you have a fence, can we do a fence permit here, John? No, we're not. Got a motion on the Genius left fence
Genius,
permit.
yeah, Genius. Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Wolfman. Moeller.
Yes.
Frank.
Yes.
Beckman.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, now the administrator report.
Yeah, let's just take a look at that handicap parking issue again down around the post office and down to talk to the postmaster. And we talked through a couple options, but on page 4 is an aerial photo. And what's going to be proposed is that there'd be two handicap spots created there, where one says HC and the other one on the box on the right side says HC also. One handicap spot, furthest left spot or the furthest west spot, actually in front of the Lakeview Family Chiropractic. And that one is right next to the alley and has alley access then there. The other one would be proposed to be on the east side of the post office. It's directly south of that loading zone. And then this would be proposed to be a parallel spot then. So depending on what the space needs are for a parallel parking spot, it would either take out 2 or 3, most likely, parking spaces there to have a parallel parking space. That leaves one regular parking space further to the south. Talked with the postmaster, and he certainly was on board with this. At some point, we would do some concrete work there to put in a handicap ramp at this additional parallel parking space. But for the moment, I think we can sign that. And
why would it have to be a parallel parking spot there?
So
Why couldn't we
just so that
just split
it's
it up and take 3 spots and make them 2 spots, so they're a little wider?
just the access again. So if it's the van access, then he would directly be able to access onto the sidewalk directly from the van, off the right side.
Will that block there when we load?
And you see where it says load
Yeah.
there, the loading zone is, that does not block that loading zone.
Okay.
I would think he could still pull in there and have his, if we're going to make it a ramp, then he'd still be able to get in up on the sidewalk at that point, and without taking out 3 parking stalls, down to 1. I mean, we're short on parking stalls anyway.
Either way, we lose 3 spots.
2 to go the other way.
2, if you,
What about the one on the northeast corner then? Are we keeping that handicap or that going to?
yeah, that would be a handicap spot then too. That's,
So we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stalls, basically, because we're taking 3 out for that 1, or 2, however you do it. So we're gonna have 4 or 5 stalls for handicap,
true, yes.
3, 4, 5, 6 for normal.
And to me,
That corner one,
that's not out of line considering the amount of elderly people that go to the post office every morning.
right, I'm just making sure that we got enough parking for non-handicapped.
Right.
as well.
We have all these.
Oh, we got one down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got 7.
Mhm.
My question, because I'm just looking at this and I see that there's that one parking spot right on the end. If somebody parks there, that the postmaster, he'd have to do some jockeying around to get out. If somebody parked there with like a pickup or something,
For a parallel, if you left it parallel.
if you left the parallel.
We can back in from the north, because it's a loading zone, nobody can park there anyway.
Yeah.
You surely can parallel, Katie.
I would just think to save the spot, you know, we should just park normally and
Right.
like it's set up now. If we have to make the space, you're gonna have that loading zone where he can park right beside,
That's it, yeah.
that he can roll his ramp out of his van, you know, for his wheelchair.
He's parking in the one spot now and getting out, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
I just don't see why we need to take up any more parking places than, like you said, the ratio is not good for regular people.
So then people that live in that house, do they park on that, in front of their house then too there?
Not very
Good,
often.
but I think not much.
I haven't seen it.
Because we could take the one that's next to the load and make that distracted thing where nobody parks, or half of the distracted thing, so the van pulled in that middle one.
Yep.
Does the loading area have a curb? I guess
It does right now.
It does right now. If you took it out there, that way they can get up there, and then when he pulls up there and unloads with the wheelchair, you can just go right up that. It'll help out there.
Yeah, we'd have to make a ramp right there.
Oh, yeah. If you're gonna do it anyway with the parallel park.
Kind of like that idea.
I just seen it.
So it'd be right, right here,
No, no.
would be the ramp, not here.
Yeah, so we're looking at just two regular diagonal spaces then, and,
I think that'd be better.
yeah, that's fine. Good. Okay, yep, we can go ahead and proceed that way.
Are we still doing one up
Yeah,
on Main Street?
I thought you were doing one on Main Street.
And one would be proposed on Main Street somewhere, but as we talk about it more, it just may be best at the corner. So whether it's at the bakery, whether it's on Main Street or on Fifth Street.
The best at the corner because of the spaces.
And access for a ramp.
Because there's already a curb cut there.
Yeah, there's curbs, or curb cut. And if we have to do a curb cut on Main Street, then just a lot more involved with it as far as getting the pavers replaced in there properly and everything.
The sidewalk dips there. I just walked in front of what used to be Huss's building
Yep.
yesterday. That's kind of I mean, you're not ready for it. It's an adjustment. Us older folks. I'm talking about.
We got a complaint on that, about getting a little lip on that.
I know. Thanks, Wendy.
He was thinking it, I just.
Yeah, I know.
So we're not gonna put it down by the chiropractor and the dentist office because it's more hassle to put it in, is that what I'm hearing you say?
That's just as far as the accessibility. And you could do that, again, it'd take two spaces out to put in one.
It has to do with the brick, putting that back in,
It's just a much more
way back.
involved project to do that, yeah.
But would that be the right thing to do?
That's what I'm asking, yeah, good point.
You know, we either do it wrong because of where it's at, or right and sacrifice.
Yeah, we sure can do it. It's,
Do we still need enough on-street parking by eliminating, not eliminating, we're eliminating one spot, because one's still handicapped.
Right.
So we'd be eliminating one spot for that handicap spot.
Because I'm thinking down where the farmer's market is and for the customers right there at the chiropractic. That's a half block.
You gotta go a half a block either way to access a
Something that
handicap accessible.
the elderly and,
Or this way, if it's in the middle, like, it's a quarter block either way.
Well,
Right.
it's nice by, because it's kind of tight out there, but also the dentistry
Right.
yeah,
right there.
absolutely.
Farmer's market or
You know,
anywhere.
you're-
Yeah.
You're talking about two medical facilities that,
Mhm.
Well, we still got a little time on our hands, because we can't do anything till spring anyway.
right,
Yeah, we'll figure that out, you know, as far as what it would be to have one handicap space there by the farmer's market with curb cut.
because
Essentially
on the
located
next
on the
block by here, we got one in the middle of the block.
Yep, right there. Yeah, and that was designed that way, construction.
Yeah, I'd like to look into that more.
And we'll proceed that way. How about this, take a look at this Critico proposal. Just, as you read this proposal, and you can see all these numbers on the front of those spreadsheets, what that is just an operations analysis about how we can save a little bit of money by having media, replacing the media in these filters so that you're not backwashing as often. And you're able to blend more water then. And then we would get better nitrate treatment out of this. When you get right down to it, we plan to do this now for a couple of years. We've saved some money to do it. We have $50,000 saved to do that. And that doesn't quite cover what the cost of this would be.
If I'm looking at your spreadsheets correctly, it takes us 5.6 years for payback and reduced salt usage. Am I looking at that correctly?
Yeah, that's Jerry's numbers. We don't even show that we spend that much on salt. But it certainly would be a savings in money, that is true. Because we would blend more water, so the throughput through the filters is a lot more gallons, and you're not backwashing nearly as often. And it takes 700 pounds of salt to backwash every time.
Very economical, is what it sounds like. It's all about economics.
And are we gonna, and we're gonna have better quality water? Am I hearing that right too?
So this affects the nitrates, and this is a health and safety issue. So when we replace the media, we get adequate treatment now to remain compliant. When we replace the media, we get a little better treatment, but we're just gonna blend more water so that the net amount of nitrates is basically the same.
Okay.
But it is just past its useful life on the
One filter is a little worse than the other filter. Last week one was jumping up to about 6. We're still in compliance, still safe. The other one was down to 3. We were backwashing. We got it back down to 3, but one filter is getting a little bit more worse than the other one.
So were you in here when I asked the question about are we using more chlorine and stuff? You know?
No, it wasn't here.
I had somebody ask me that this weekend, like the last 3 or 4 weeks, when we changed in our water, because they taste more. The
More
guy's
chlorine?
telling me, he says he's tasting more chlorine.
It's running about the same. We did bump it up when we had that issue,
Right.
but we brought it back down.
Okay. So this isn't on the agenda tonight, do you?
No, just FYI, it'll probably be on the agenda next time. We'll show you the 2 quotes that we have.
Is the quote still gonna be good, because it says it's good for
14 days.
We'll work with Jerry on that.
Okay.
To get even a couple extra days, we'll work with them. Dean's list, you can see the Dean's list there on some of the items Dean has pending here the next couple of weeks. Christmas-like time.
We got some of the Christmas lights up on Main Street. We still have like 3rd Street to go, but we have to change the banner to be underneath the sidewalk instead of out in the street. Otherwise, the lights would be on the sidewalk instead of on the street where they are up here. Another thing we're gonna be doing is some manhole rings like this one right here. on Third and High Street. We got some rings made that'll bring the manhole up, so we don't have to cut the concrete, and then we just have to seal around the manhole. So that will be done here shortly. Hopefully this one will be done yet this week.
Back to Christmas lights. You'll notice there's 3 that aren't lit. We'll take care of them on Wednesday. We got a pole change out tomorrow, so it won't get done tomorrow, but there's 3 outlets. Evidently it need new ones that won't reset, so we better take care of Wednesday.
We're gonna try to get back to sweeping yet this week. As soon as we get the Christmas lights done and work on manhole rings, we're gonna get a couple guys out sweeping the streets back. So hopefully that'll be done for the season. Wednesday, we're gonna remove Bob Moore's sign out front so we can get that worked on. We're gonna do them church signposts and stuff this week. And then, like next week, we're gonna be removing some trees. Jeff and them are gonna be doing burying some wire, North State Road, East Shore Court.
Is East Shore Court Carroll's Landing?
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow, we're gonna be changing out Dennis Frank's pole. Also backing in the primary at Mary Becker's. Jeff is going to do the Christmas lights on Stone Pier, plus cutting down some trees. Because we need his help on a couple trees, and then they're gonna be trimming up trees out in the country as well.
We'll probably Wednesday work on the Stone Pier lights, those other outlets on Wednesday. We'll help with setting the signposts on both ends of 175.
So did that deal with removing the sign there then at Bottom Lord? So we've ordered the new direction to downtown sign. And then we need to have a new pole fabricated there. So the DMAC welding folks are gonna fabricate this pole for us. So we need to provide the materials to them, they'll fabricate it. And then they want the top and bottom of the old pole, and then they'll just match pattern that way.
The electric department will assist the guys on that.
So are they doing that down in Templeton? Is that where they got the shop?
It's on
Carroll.
campus now.
Oh, it's on campus?
On
Yep.
Carroll campus, yeah.
Matter of fact, I had a nephew just graduated from there back in May.
It's Ryan Renzi that teaches it, isn't
Yep.
it?
Yep.
It is. Good. Health insurance, we're still working on a couple things on health insurance, working with some different providers. One other agent to provide them, and then a couple other types of pools or consortiums of cities. And still coming up with some further information on that, nothing new yet. Fire department trustees meeting, if you can put this on your calendar, once a year we get together with the fire department and the trustees. Monday, December 12th, we will hold that meeting. That'll be at 7 o'clock over at the fire station. And it's a holiday, of course, on Thursday. We do work on Friday, but several folks will have the day off.
Skeleton crew. I'm one of them.
So we work on Friday because that's not one of our holidays we acknowledge.
Correct.
That meeting with the fire department trustees at 7.
7 o'clock, yeah. So was it?
Okay.
Question, I got a question for you. I noticed our lakes froze over
Oh, yeah.
and our city dock's still in.
Yeah, it's time for the dock to come out, yeah. Yep, true. Pull that baby out.
Through the ice?
Isn't that thing?
I don't know, they were ice fishing on Sunday.
Were they really?
Really?
Are you serious?
Right by the Stone Pier.
I think the next couple days we're more off, we'll get her out.
Yeah, isn't it supposed to be 50 something on
We
Wednesday?
just gotta make sure we get it out so we don't.
Probably do it Friday, because I think that's our last shot.
I think you're right. That's just,
Okay. 2231, that should be interesting. This is our contract. About 20.
Yeah.
You Scott, so yeah, beginning on page 5 is a release that Dave had prepared. This to be a mutual release, both parties releasing the other party from their obligation in regards to that project. But, want to talk through that a little bit, Dave?
Right, it's a dual purpose document. It basically releases each party from any liability for whatever occurred. And then secondly, it rescinds the real estate contract such that the contract title, the title to the real estate remains in the city. And the contract is rescinded. We'll have to record that, so it's a matter of public record.
Do we have a list of our expenses, what we spent on that project, including attorney's fees?
Not for attorney's fees and stuff. That's anything like that.
I don't remember us talking about, in this proposal in our packet, we're giving them everything back. Am I reading that correctly?
We're giving them the $10,000 that they paid for the real estate back,
Plus,
and then their expenses minus their share of the engineering.
But didn't they, Dave, I'm just curious, they didn't fulfill their part of the contract, so does that null and void us having to do any kind of money swap?
We'd still have to forfeit the contract, which would be a legal process. We'd have to tell them why they're not in performance of the contract and give them 30 days to correct the contract. Assuming they didn't do that, then the contract would be forfeited. At that point in time, their money's paid would be forfeited.
isn't that, I'm trying to do a little memory here, and I got some notes jotted down that what we paid for cleanup and stuff. But we had that housing meeting with them that day, and then we discussed it afterwards. Didn't we talk about, they didn't even know if they have any of their 10,000 left after that, with all of our expenses involved?
I thought it was a wash.
Yeah, I guess I do recall that discussion about the $10,000. I would say that they had put in this request then for this additional $9,000 of expenses that they would claim or cleanup costs that bettered the property. So,
I don't know
Anyway,
if
that's
it's any
their
better now than it was then.
I was gonna say,
That's-
they've actually made it worse. They've hauled in some dirt and it's made it unmanageable to mow. I
And
mean, they didn't level it off like,
and that day we were sitting here, we gave them 30 days to produce stuff at that time, but we didn't probably do it in writing.
I think Dave, did you serve notice on, because we wanted results of how they were gonna deal with these different issues? Wasn't that kind of the way we talked about it towards the end?
I don't think we gave them notice, but when we left the meeting, they were assuring us that we'd have the documentation within at least a week or 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's,
They
yeah.
indicated that'd be no problem. After that, we had another phone conversation. I didn't, Scott did, but the phone conversation was, we can't get a bond economically or feasibly. And at that point, we started talking about backing out of the contract quickly. It's really a function of how quickly we want to have clear title to the real estate.
Not gonna do nothing within the next 60 to 90 days. How long would it take of us to do the 30-day deal and proceed? Would we have possession by spring? Realistically?
Spring would be about it, yeah.
I mean,
That's 3 months,
I mean,
4.
we put a lot of money into this project
Well, now that,
for them,
the biggest thing is put us behind.
yeah.
We should be building, we should be, and we should be, at least have something in the ground now, and we don't have nothing. Because we went with them, trying to work with them, with their, plans. We've been flexible with it. And now when it came push to shove, they couldn't handle it.
And then the other thing too, if we do everything like what they're talking about here, what they're asking for apparently, sets a precedence with their next development agreement, the next one down the road. Well, the city ain't gonna hold us to it, we're giving them everything back. They gotta have a little skin in the game too, you know? Anybody takes a business venture, there's risk involved.
Because they're not losing anything this way.
Correct.
And when they signed the agreement, they surely thought it would cost them something.
Our taxpayers are gonna want their money back.
Well, yes,
We don't wanna throw it down the tubes.
and we still got a mess down there yet, we gotta clean up.
Exactly.
I make a motion, that's the direction we head.
Dave, are we on legal ground there, are we all right with doing that? I mean,
Yeah,
okay.
it's gonna take time, Marty.
No, that's fine,
That's okay.
We're gonna be patient with that.
You be patient, and then, it's gonna cost legal fees.
Yep. We already got them spent.
Yeah.
Well, these would be more than that.
Well,
We're gonna get some of our other legal
so let
fees
me,
back.
so let me ask you this, are we gonna spend more than 17,000 legal fees?
No,
Okay, so we're saving our taxpayers' money by
But
going this.
we don't need a motion, we just don't take no action on 2231, is that correct?
If you want to instruct the city attorney to proceed down the, what would you call that path, then,
well,
the notice path?
we would go to the notice of forfeiture, but I think I would reach out to these guys and say, here's what's gonna happen. We want, this, rescission of this contract, and part of the consideration for what we're paying them for would be a release so that they can't come back later and say somehow, and I'm not saying I even foresee this, but somehow that the city breached the agreement or the city caused them some damage. I don't see it, but you hardly ever see it coming either, so.
So do we have documentation on that? They came back to us saying that they can't get the note, or the bond, I should say?
I do, I got notes from our phone conversation.
We have a
yeah.
phone conversation with notes,
Okay,
and a couple of conversations with each of them, or one with each of them.
so I'm just saying that they say, well, we never said that. I guess what I'm trying to say is that we protect ourselves on this when it comes to pulling the pin, that this doesn't come as a shock from everybody. No, oh, we can get other people to come in now, or they tried to do that, so, you know what I'm saying? I don't think, I'll speak for myself, I'm not real comfortable to do business with them no matter what now, but I don't know what the rest of, I just wanna be able to protect the city so that we don't have to say, what he said, we said, you know, that's important to me. Does that make sense? I'm trying to.
Well, let me talk to the principals and explain things and see where we end up. It may not be anywhere near as complicated as I think, but I'm just telling you what I foresee as the most likely scenario, which would be having to proceed formally with the legal force.
Okay, well,
So we'll take no
Makes
action.
sense.
Or we can take an action to deny that resolution that they want, because we're not in favor. Me,
How-
myself, I'm not in favor of giving them that
How was it
17,000.
ever decided that they would be the ones that could develop this property? Was it out for a bid?
It was, so the city took proposal on projects down there,
right,
Okay,
and they,
they came in with the,
the best
offered the
proposal?
best for,
Okay,
now
how
also
we
my
did
best,
Milton
best
Main.
was only.
Pardon?
They were the only
That's
ones.
how we did Milton on Main, we took proposals, we didn't actually take the one for most money, we took the one we thought was best for downtown.
it was before my time, I didn't know how it was ever.
So we don't need a motion to instruct the attorney to do that or anything. He's
It's just gonna,
Yeah, I think Dave's okay with that.
all right. Okay, resolution 2232. Fixing a date for the hearing.
That's what the main thing out of this is, fixes the bid letting date. And bid letting date on this would then be, December 12th. Would be bid letting date on that, and then we would have council action the following Monday on December 19th. The, project is just the same Northwest Water Main project. But when we go to bid, a couple things are different about this. That when we go to bid, you gotta follow all the bidding procedures now, so you gotta have bid bond. a bond for the project was required before, but now they gotta have a bid bond for submitting the bid. And then, they did change the completion date on this and extended the completion date out to September 30.
Could you have a motion to approve 2232?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
roll call.
Beckman,
Yes.
Mulder,
Yes.
Stankin,
Yes,
Voltman. Yep. Frank.
Yes.
Okay, resolution 2233 is our bridge north of town.
Yeah, this would just approve and enter into this contract for that grant for the bridge north of town. And, of course, this is a federal project, so we get all of the red tape and obligations that goes along with it. But,
Yeah, the engineering, though, can we get that done by the county?
so I did talk to the county about that,
Okay,
and, I talked with Nick, and of course, he's a little concerned about doing engineering on that, because even the county says we likely would outsource that for our own projects. But we would have further discussion then about whether there's cost share or anything like that, potentially with it also.
the other bridge, didn't they do the engineering on that one?
I don't think they did the engineering. They were responsible for everything on that one. I mean, we got a city grant, but even the city grant money was funneled through the county. We just had nothing to do with that.
Okay, all right.
Question on that bridge. Is there a grant for that bridge not to exceed, did I read somewhere 1.5 million?
$1.5 million, yeah, that's the upper end of the grant.
So-
The cost estimate was $800,000.
Okay, that was my question. So 800 times 30% would be 1.24 million, or 1.4 million. 1,124,000. 30% higher.
30%.
But I just wanted to make sure we're not close to the 1.5 or whatever, you know what I mean?
Sure. Yep.
Okay.
We have a motion to approve 2233,
I'll make that motion.
roll call.
Okay, Frank,
Yes.
Bolton, Beckman,
Yes.
Mulder,
Yes.
thank you.
yes,
Okay, 2234 is our agreement between Holland and us.
Bolton. So yes, this resolution would approve this training reimbursement agreement. And the same training reimbursement agreement that we have used in the past, got a declining scale about reimbursing the expenses based upon the number of years that they would work for us before they leave. But this is, has another component to it too that is new, and that's that non-compete. So Dave has written this up so that basically it is that Colton would not be able to take another law enforcement job within 35 miles, is how it was written up.
Chief, you okay with that?
Chief, are you okay with that?
I'm good.
Colton has signed the agreement.
And he goes, am I reading this right, Chris? He's going to the academy in May, is that what this says?
Yes, yes. He's got a baby due in February, so I don't wanna send him when he's
Right. No, I
ready to
just-
do, so.
So my question is, we'll have enough time under our belt.
We got a year to
What
send
about-
him.
Okay, so we'll have enough time under our belt to make sure he's the proper employee to invest the money.
Yeah, plenty of time.
That's what I'm getting at.
Plenty of time.
Perfect.
I'll make a motion on 2233.
Second.
Roll call.
Colton,
So we
Beckman,
Yep.
Frank,
Yes.
Mulder,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes,
Okay, Wall Lake, have our agreement, you want an extension?
Yeah, so our contract with Wall Lake to provide police services expires on June 30 of '23. And talked with Chris over to Wall Lake to inform him of that and then get some feelings for what their next steps might be. They have had some discussion then with their city council, and their response was simply they're happy as is and that they would entertain a 5-year extension. Before we look at that though, I do want to go through this with you about how we compute costs. And if you look at page 34, what we end up doing is including all of the costs associated with operating that police department. and then we would just break it out into an hour. It costs this much to provide an hour's worth of police protection. And then we've offered Wall Lake then that same price as far as what our taxpayers would pay here. So, and you look at the top, this is all based, for this FY 22-23, and at the time, you see it was based on those employees who were here at the time. We will use budget numbers then for next year, because all of our costs are going up and the wages have increased. And then we're able to use all the actual numbers on insurances and everything else that's the budgeted items down there in the shaded box on the left. Come up with the total cost to run the police department, currently $384,000, and there's 808,320 hours in a year, so that's $46.17 for us to per hour to run our police department. We've had a 20 hours per week, but that ends up being 87 hours per month. And so the contract fee that Wall Lake is currently paying us is $4,017. And just for, as a comparison, you flip to the page before, you can see what it's been over the course of the years. And it's, some years, previous years have been negotiated, but for the past 5 years, we have utilized this contract that bases things off of actual cost.
So, with that being said, so it's $46.17 an hour, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So back under B, Amendment 7B, do we need to change the additional hours? Will we build at $39.63 to the current rate of $46.17?
Well, because we actually do not have the current rate yet. This, page 34 is the spreadsheet we use for this current fiscal year.
Right.
Okay, now that'll change when it comes into next fiscal year based upon what we do during budget time.
Okay.
Okay, so the proposed,
Will we change Amendment B, under Amendment 7, paragraph B, will we change that rate then to match whatever our rate's gonna be?
yes, so if we flip to page 35, here is a draft of what Amendment 8 would look like. And it just says that effective in July of '23, there's monthly fee with the cost to be the cost per man hour to provide service as determined by that spreadsheet methodology.
Okay.
And then the same thing applies for subsequent years, that the methodology determines what the annual cost would be, and that rolls into the contract.
Now, do we have anything in place, because I didn't know that we had it nailed down that tight. Do we have anything in place in our procedures to, hypothetically, there's a couple of major events that go on there for a month, during the month or something, where we're putting in way more hours than what we're projected to document and keep track of?
We can always put in more out, you know, because you just, it's gonna be based off work too.
Right,
So-
but I'm saying they had some type of emergency thing over there, excessive emergency, where we're spending a lot more police time over there than what's in our contract, because it was, the one amendment was any additional hours will be billed at the rate over that, so, do we have an
So
ordinance?
that's still in there too, in this Amendment 8, it's the second paragraph of item B.
Right, so do
So
we,
it
do
would
we have something in our procedures for our police staff, or do they have something that they can keep track of that, so that you start to see where I'm going?
We get a monthly report of what hours,
From like the council?
from the council, yeah,
Okay.
so,
Yeah, that's,
Perfect, that's good, I didn't know how we kept track of that.
So when we do patrol time down there, so say I spend 30 minutes patrolling down there. When I leave Wall Lake, I let the comm center know, hey, I spent 30 minutes patrol time in Wall Lake. And they document it, and they print it out at the end of every month and give it to us.
Yeah.
So our calls for service aren't in that log, but we have obviously all those in our CAD system.
Right, that's why I'm just making sure we got some way to backtrack and check that.
yeah,
If we would have to build them.
we didn't have it this tight before, but this last time we tightened it up.
It's been in our agreement, and we have not billed them for excess hours. You know, and in the past, we've had problems documenting exactly how many hours it might have been, and I think they got a much better handle on that.
Right.
Sounds like they got a good handle.
With the comm center, that makes a lot of difference.
Do we need a motion on that?
Yeah, so what Again, I just wrote this up as a draft, so that if there's a motion, it's to endorse the extension and offer a contract to Wall Lake. Wall Lake would have first action on it, and then we would follow after that.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
I'll second it.
roll call.
Okay, Moeller.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bolton.
Yep.
Beckman.
Yes.
Frank.
Yes.
Okay, the CDBG housing grant program, we need a motion to approve the
Well,
request.
can you, yeah, let's take a look at our report on agreed upon procedures, which is this auditor's report.
Oh, that's right.
And these are, the interesting parts are on the back of page 8. Where these are the findings then and recommendations of the auditor. And that first recommendation, item A, segregation of duties, boy, we have got that recommendation every time. As far as, you know, when, under normal operations, we have 2 people in the office and it's me and Kay. And we try to split some duties up as best we can, but I know there's lots of activities that just one person's hand would touch the money, and we know that happens. So at least when we're doing recaps and reconciliations, we get, Kay and I both get involved with that, and then we get the mayor involved with that also, so we try to have a third folks overlooking it. So this is, we get this ding every time, but it's tough to handle anything when there's 2 people.
So what would happen if we would take a council member, I'm just throwing out, would sit through it once a month and rotate it around us? When does this, is this an everyday deal, or is it just often do you?
Anything additional is good. You know, I think would be the opinion of the auditor, that anything additional would be good, and anytime you have more eyes on it, it's a good thing. Fact is, of course, we have financial transactions every day.
Every day, so that would be.
And Kay's really good about that. She goes to the bank virtually every day.
So that would be, it's not a once a week process, it's an everyday process.
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you're saying.
So like when John would come in and review the reconciliation, it's the monthly reconciliation, does that?
Okay, that's why I was confused about that,
Yeah.
when John was coming in, so.
But if anybody else wants to take part in that, they're sure welcome.
It's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
There it is.
Couple of other things then, item B there on the bottom, talking about certified budget, we did exceed the budgeted amount in business type functions, so those are utilities. And we did exceed that, largely related to electric and water, where in total it was $101,000 over the budget. And we had amended that budget the last month before the end of the year. We still had these additional expenses that came in before the end, so technically we did violate that as far as spending more than was budgeted. Page 9 then, the questionable donations. We got this thing here for the first time last year, and this was when it was brought up about making the contributions to private nonprofits. So you see the Spring Lake Country Club is listed there. We made that donation in the first part of the fiscal year. So that was after July. We had made this contribution to them, and there was no agreement in place or anything. But then when we went through budget last time, we did not renew that support for them. So you do acknowledge that it was paid during the last year. And then also the other one that is noted there is Lakeview Community Club. That one we do have an agreement in place for, as far as what they are supposed to be doing and the types of advertising that they're doing and what the support is for. So Dave had drawn that up. So long as we have this agreement and you're showing the public purpose, is still defensible, but we did get a citation on that. Item D on page 10 talks about annual reports, and this was the TIF outstanding debt report and urban renewal report. What I do is prepare these reports prior to having the auditor come on site, and then she reviews it. In this case, this dealt with the debt from the Sac Beach edition, and that debt's paid from a couple places, from debt service, and then it's also paid from TIF. So the total amount between those two showed properly, but it showed $20,000 off of high on TIF versus debt service. So that has been corrected. It was corrected before they were submitted to the state. Last one there then is city council minutes. So somewhere along the way, we never did approve the March 21st, 2022 council meeting minutes. So that's an oversight on my part. I'm sure we just, of course, reused the same format for the agenda and just didn't change the date on the minutes to be approved. But those were the findings then of the auditor. We do have to submit that to the state, and I've actually already submitted it on to the state. But if we have a motion to approve the report.
We'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mulder,
Yes.
Bolton,
Yes.
Beckman,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Okay, now we need to approve the request for payment number 17, the CDBG grant.
Yeah, I keep telling you this will be the last one, but I really do think this is the last draw that we're making to close out the CDBG program.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Okay, Frank,
Yes.
Mulder,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Bolton,
Yes.
Beckman,
Yes.
Now we need to approve, a motion to approve the payment number 18 to Region 12.
Make that motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
Roll call.
okay, Frank,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Bolton, Beckman,
Yes.
Mulder.
Yes.
Okay, electric cost studies.
Yeah, so I gave you two proposals on electric cost of service study. Within the request for qualifications, it did say that we asked them to provide a cost estimate. And then in another section, it had also said that the final fees would be negotiated during contract time. I think DGR found that a little confusing. They did not provide a total lump sum cost. Okay, now I've talked with them here the past couple days and asked them for a cost. We certainly want them to get just as good a consideration as the other guy. I know if you don't provide cost, it's pretty tough to consider. So anyway, they said, yep, I'll get you a cost, and then they called back today, said we're not able to do that today. Basically, I would ask you if you're willing to table this further for a couple of weeks and consider two proposals with costs at the next meeting.
We did the electrical study survey a while back.
Yes.
We had them results.
Yep.
Did that not help us with any of this stuff?
It's not as, if you think of this really, in terms of ultimately what it ends up being is rate making. So it lays some of the groundwork for that, but this is really the financial study about rate making.
This gives you an opportunity to get the hard numbers and that actual, close to be an actual.
For the rates on the revenue side of things,
Right.
that's what this is focusing on. So,
We have time to wait, don't we?
we do, we do, we're gonna, it's gonna come budget time, and we're gonna wanna budget what these rates are, but it's a 3-month time period throughout the study anyway, is what we've proposed. So our budget will largely be done before we would have results. So if you're willing to table, that'd be,
We don't have much choice, do we?
Not if we want to.
No, not if you
it'd
want.
be great to have
Just-
prices.
Let's have one call next.
Yeah.
I make a motion to table.
Second? Roll call.
I make a motion we.
Okay, Beckman,
Yes.
Boltman,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Moeller,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Before we go, Dave, do you wanna tell them what you did in Minneapolis, how we got that?
Yeah, I went out to dinner with my sons. Oh, you mean
Oh,
that?
yeah.
We went up to Minneapolis to receive this award on our watershed project that the DNR and Blackhawk Lake Association have been working on. We received the award, I believe there were 6 entities up for this award in this region, the northern part of the United States or whatever it is. And we were the winner of that award. It was a bigger deal than I thought, and it was really impressive to get that award. They had a few other awards. New Jersey got an award for something. And, yeah, it was just a really neat deal. And with all the work that we've done on the lake and everything, it's nice to see that we got recognized for all of that. So, yeah, it was a pretty neat deal.
Very good, thanks, Dave. Motion adjourned,
Motion, I'll make that motion.
second,
I'll make it.
meeting adjourned, thank you.